I'm Jim Zogby, and you are watching Viewpoint. My next guest is Rafiq Husseini. He's Chief of Staff to Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. He's here in town. He was at the Brookings Institution for a discussion of final status talks, which are kind of difficult to see our way through to these days. But I want to ask you a question about the current situation before we get sort of down the road. There are so many developments going on right now, and almost dizzying, but one wonders if they're going anywhere. I mean, Secretary Rice has made a visit a month for the last 4 months. Right now, President Abbas and Prime Minister Olmert are meeting every other week. There is the Arab League Initiative. There were some meetings here in Washington with Secretary Rice now for the first time with a member of the government. Salam Fayyad was here. The question I have is there movement here? Or is this sort of the illusion of movement? I mean, is there something really happening? Is there reason for sense of expectation that something may occur?
Well, I mean, definitely there's movement, Jim. But whether this movement is all going in the same direction, whether the movement is not keeping us in the same position, we're just jumping up and down, we don't know. But there is movement, and there should be movement. The problem deserves to be resolved. And as quickly as possible. This is an issue that needs to be resolved now. There's an opportunity, regardless of Hamas being in government. There is a good opportunity for things to move on, but conditions maybe are not ripe on all sides.
The question is on all sides. Abu Mazen came out of the Mecca Accords with a mandate.
Yes.
The question is, are you confident that you have a partner? That Olmert is ready and even able, and how serious do you think the United States is right now about pushing this forward?
Well, President Abbas always says that his partner is always whoever is presiding in the Israeli government, and he has to work with any Israeli prime minister there is. And the moment there is Mr. Olmert, whether Mr. Olmert is ready to negotiate meaningfully is one thing, but is he ready to meet regularly? Yes, he is. But are the meetings going to produce something very quickly? That's a question that we have to see. We've started these meetings only recently, and the next meeting, which will be in Jericho, will happen in a couple of weeks. And then Dr. Rice will come to the area, and I think we'll see then if there is any development.
Mm-hmm. And do you think the United States is ready? I mean, your sense is, are they ready to push? Are they ready to do something real, or is there just a buying time effort going on here?
Well, I think Dr. Rice is genuine in trying to push the process forward. She has, I think, rightly decided that we need to define the end game in the Arab-Israeli dispute. If we're talking about a Palestinian state, what is the Palestinian state we're talking about? What happens to the settlements? What happens to the borders? What happens to Jerusalem? These are the issues that really need to be defined, and that's what the end game is all about. So she is wanting to push this process forward, but whether Israel wants to do that at the moment, I doubt. The Israelis are very busy in other things, and they have never wanted to define the end game.
Let me talk to you just for a minute about the unity government itself. I read a piece in one of the Palestinian newspapers just the other day suggesting that it's working in one way, and that is it sort of stabilized the situation, but it's not providing any direction. It called it a headless government in the sense that there was no clear direction that it was providing, that it sort of tied the hands of both sides. Would you agree with that assessment? And what do you think the prospects of this government moving forward are?
Well, I think the most important thing is that this unity government came and the infighting stopped, and near civil war situation was ended by this government. But the another important point is that this Hamas were elected by popular vote, and we have to preserve our democracy. So the fact that this government came through negotiations and through the democratic process, through parliament and the president, is very important for the future of Palestinian democracy. Whether this government is capable of doing something positive, well, we are not sure as yet. Really, it's the beginning of a life of something new. We have never had a national unity government in Palestine as yet, and therefore the dynamics of this government are still to be worked out. We feel that there is hope that this government works. 94% of the Palestinian people want it to work and to succeed. But whether difficulties will come because of the different programs, political programs of Fatah and Hamas, not only the political program but the social program as well, whether this will show up pretty soon, we'll have to leave this to time, but everything is possible.
Let me get your calls in. If you're calling from overseas, it's 001-202-842-5056. Here in the U.S., 1-800-528-2090. One last question from me, and that is about the deteriorating situation on the ground. Clearly, the economic issues have gotten worse, not better. I was reading some reports that were stunning, but I've been seeing articles in the Palestinian press worrying about the issue of lawlessness, of gangs, of families, of sort of organization devolving downward into sort of more almost traditional competing rival groups and becoming out of control. How difficult is that going to be to bring back? How worried are you about the situation as you move forward?
I think we are very worried about this. Having said that, we have to understand that this only happens in Gaza and only in certain parts of Gaza. So it should not be generalized to the whole Palestinian.
But in Jenin, there's also violence that is gang related, as it were, and Hebron, and I'm sorry, in Nablus as well. We've gotten reports like that.
Well, it's not that bad.
Okay.
It's not that bad, really. But the Gaza is the situation that is dangerous, if you want. This government has to work towards ensuring security inside of the internal security for the Palestinians, and it has to at one stage collect all the guns that are illegal in the hands of militias and so on. Mm-hmm. The problem with that is every gun that is in Gaza claimed to be a resistance gun, which is in my opinion not the case, and therefore we have to do something about this situation. The economic situation, of course, encourages this to happen,
right,
and pushes this issue to the limelight, because poor people then give themselves the right to do whatever it takes to feed their family, and that is not a good excuse, but it is definitely a reality. The problem, of course, is bigger than that, because we are, as Palestinians, are not seeing that the two-state solution is going to be working. We see the settlements in the West Bank expanding, we see the wall taking 10% of the land, we see restrictions in the Jordan Valley, and therefore people are getting very unhappy and desperate about the situation. And this is a message that Israel and the West have to understand. The two-state solution that Mr. Bush wanted to promote can